You're a disappointment, Emily. I won't waste another penny on your failed dreams. My father's voice echoed in my ears, shattering my heart as I stood on the doorstep, clutching a small bag of clothes and a future I never wanted to face. Hi there. My name is Emily and I'm 25 years old. I live in a beautiful old mansion that used to be my childhood home. It's nestled in a vibrant neighborhood filled with people chasing their dreams. I'm passionate about technology and coding, and I've built my own business in that field. A few years ago, I faced some tough challenges that changed my life forever. I went from feeling lost and alone to becoming a successful entrepreneur, and now I'm on a mission to empower young women in tech. I believe in the power of second chances and the importance of community. Join me as I share my journey of resilience, hope, and creating a brighter future. I walked through the door, my heart heavy. My hand shook as I held the rejection letter from the scholarship committee. It felt like a huge rock in my stomach. I can't believe this happened, I whispered to myself. Emily, is everything okay? My mom asked from the kitchen. She looked up, her eyes filled with concern. No, I said, my voice barely above a whisper. I lost my scholarship. My dad looked up from the newspaper. His expression darkened. What do you mean you lost it? He snapped. I didn't get it, I said. Tears burned my eyes. I thought I was good enough. That's what you thought? Dad said, raising his voice. You've disappointed us, Emily. We counted on you. Dad, please, I said, panic rising in my chest. I tried so hard. My mom stepped closer. Honey, it's okay. We can figure this out. How? Dad interrupted, glaring at her. She's done nothing but waste our time and money. I felt my face turn hot. I didn't want to be a disappointment. But I'm trying. I wanted to go to college. I wanted to be someone. My voice cracked. Dad shook his head, his disappointment souring the air. We can't keep throwing money at your dreams, Emily. You need to face reality. I clenched my fists at my side. You think I'm not facing reality? I'm scared. Scared of what? Dad shot back. Scared of failing? Because you already have. Tears streamed down my face. I didn't mean to fail. I wanted to make you proud. Guess you'll have to think of a new plan, Dad said, his voice cold as ice. My mom remained silent, her eyes clouded with confusion and sadness. Please, Dad, I pleaded. I can try again next year. It's too late for that, he said sharply. You need to leave. I froze. Leave? What do you mean? Take your clothes, take this. He tossed me a small bag filled with a few old t-shirts and jeans. And here's $40. Good luck finding a place to stay. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. You want me to just go? My heart raced. Anger mixed with despair flooded my chest. You don't mean that. I'm still your daughter. Dad crossed his arms. Not one that I'm proud of. You bring shame to our family name. Figure it out, Emily. The bag felt heavy in my hands. I turned to my mom, searching her eyes for support. Mom, you can't let him do this. She looked away, tears glimmering in her eyes. I don't know what to say. Mom, I chased after her. You have to say something, please. But she just shook her head, her voice trembling. I can't choose sides, Emily. I turned back to Dad, my heart breaking with every word. This is really how you see me? Just some failure? He nodded, his features hardening like stone. I'll expect you to find a way to fix your mistakes. I stumbled back, feeling lost and alone in a world that felt too big. I hate you, I shouted, but in my heart, I was screaming for a dad who cared. With one last look, I turned and opened the door. The reality of my new life crashed in like a wave. I stepped out into the unknown, echoing his words, figure it out. I stood in front of Sarah's house, clutching my small bag of clothes. Can I stay with you? I asked, my voice shaking. Of course. Sarah smiled, but her eyes looked worried. You're always welcome here. As I walked inside, I felt both relieved and scared. I was grateful for Sarah, but I hated feeling lost. I'm so sorry about this, I said, sitting on the edge of her bed. Don't be, Sarah said, setting a glass of water in front of me. You'll figure it out. We're friends. We help each other. Yeah, I said softly, looking at my hands. I just don't know what to do now. You should get a job, Sarah said, brightening up. There's a diner nearby. They need help. A job? I don't know how to work in a diner, I said, nervously biting my lip. It's easy. You rise and serve food. Plus, it will help you earn some cash, she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I'll go with you. After a few days of staying with Sarah, I mustered up the courage to walk into the diner. The bell jingled as I entered. The smell of frying bacon filled the air. A waitress with a friendly smile approached me. Hi there, you looking for a job? She asked. Yes, I replied, my voice trembling a little. Great, she said. I'm Liz. We need servers. You'll love it here. I hope so, I said, feeling nerves tingle in my stomach. After a short interview and a few training shifts, I was officially a waitress. It was busy and my feet ached by the end of each day, but there was something fulfilling about moving fast, serving customers, and earning my own money. One afternoon, as I served coffee to a table, I overheard two men talking. I'm so excited about the tech conference this weekend, one man said, his eyes shining. Me too. They'll have coding workshops, the other replied. I can't wait to learn something new. Coding? I whispered to myself, my ears perking up. I didn't know much about it, but something about the word sparked my interest. Later, during my break, I searched coding on my phone. Thousands of articles and videos popped up. I felt my heart race. This could be my way out. I couldn't stop thinking about it. Emily? Sarah interrupted my thoughts. You okay? You look excited. I heard about coding, I said, my eyes wide. I think I want to learn. Seriously? That sounds amazing, Sarah beamed. There are so many online courses. You could do it. Yeah, I agreed, a smile creeping onto my face. Maybe that's how I can change my life. Absolutely. Small steps, right? Sarah said, nodding. Right, I said, feeling hope build inside me. As I finished my shift that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time, determination. I wasn't just going to survive. I was going to fight for my future. I vowed to myself, I will learn coding, I will change my destiny. With every small step I took, I felt a little lighter, as if I was finally moving toward the person I wanted to be. One evening after my shift, I sat down with Sarah in our small living room. I took a deep breath. It was time to share my plan. I want to learn coding, I said, excitement bubbling inside me. Her eyes widened. Seriously? That's awesome. How are you going to do that? I found night classes at a local community center, I replied, my heart racing. I can start next week. Wow, that's a big step, she said, clapping her hands in delight. What if you use some of your savings? That's what I was thinking, I said, feeling nervous. I should be able to afford it. Go for it, Sarah encouraged. You can do this, Emily. Show the world what you've got. Filled with hope, I signed up for the classes. The first night I walked into the classroom, my heart pounding. A few students were there, all gazing at their laptops. I found a seat and tried to calm my nerves. Welcome, everyone. I'm Jamie, your instructor, a tall woman said with a friendly smile. Let's dive into coding. I listened closely, writing down every word. Jamie had a way of making everything sound so exciting. After class, I approached her. Hi, Jamie. I'm Emily. I'm new to coding. Nice to meet you, Emily, Jamie said, her eyes shining. I can see you have potential. Keep working hard and you'll be surprised at what you can achieve. Really? I gasped, my heart racing. You think I could really be good at this? Absolutely, she said confidently. Just stay curious and don't be afraid to ask questions. I left that night feeling inspired. Each class got better and better. I learned programming languages, how to build websites, and so much more. My mind buzzed with ideas. One day, as I was heading back to the diner after class, I had a light bulb moment. What if I start a freelance coding business? I thought. I could take on small projects while I continued learning. Excited, I rushed home to tell Sarah. I have an idea, I blurted out when I saw her. What if I start freelancing? I could build websites for people. Her eyes lit up. That's brilliant. You've learned so much already. You could easily do that. Really? You think so? I said, biting my nails nervously. Definitely. The more experience you get, the stronger your skills will become. Plus, it could help bring in money. I jumped up, feeling energized. Okay, I'll start sending out emails. I want to find clients. With Sarah's encouragement, I spent the next few nights working on my website. I listed my skills and offered my services. I felt a mix of fear and excitement. What if no one replied? But then, a few days later, I got my first email. A local small business wanted a website makeover. My heart raced. This is it, I exclaimed, practically jumping up and down. I have a client. See, I knew you could do this. Sarah cheered, giving me a high five. With Jamie's guidance and my new client, I worked late into the night. It felt like magic as I watched my ideas come to life on the screen, and with every success, my confidence grew. I was finally taking control of my life. I wasn't just Emily the disappointment anymore. I was becoming Emily the coder. I could feel my future brightening one line of code at a time. Years flew by like a blink of an eye. My little coding business was booming. I worked hard and it paid off. I had clients from all over and they loved my work. Every new project boosted my confidence. One sunny afternoon, I was sitting at my desk, staring at my laptop. I heard a soft knock on my office door. Hey, Emily, Sarah said, poking her head in. You've got a visitor. A visitor? Who is it? I asked, puzzled. A representative from Tech Innovations, she replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. They're interested in talking to you. Heart racing, I stood up. What? Why would they want to talk to me? I don't know, but it must be important, she said, grinning. Go see. With butterflies in my stomach, I walked into the meeting room. A man with neat glasses and a sharp suit was waiting. Hello, Emily. I'm Mr. Carter from Tech Innovations, he said, extending his hand. I've heard great things about your work. Thank you, I replied, shaking his hand. I'm glad you like what I do. We're impressed with your business model and the growth you've achieved, he said, his voice steady. We would like to discuss a proposal. Proposal? I asked, my voice a mix of curiosity and anxiety. What kind of proposal? We're interested in acquiring your startup, he said, watching my reaction. We believe it could be a fantastic addition to our company. I blinked, trying to process his words. Acquiring my startup? You mean like buying it? Yes, he said with a nod. We see a lot of potential in what you've built. This could be a win-win for both of us. I felt a rush of emotions, anxiety, excitement, confusion. But why me? Because you're a talented entrepreneur, he said confidently. Your skills and vision are clear. We think you could help our team greatly. I need some time to think about it, I said, feeling overwhelmed. This is a big decision. Of course, take your time, he said with a reassuring smile. After he left, I sat down with Sarah. I can't believe this. They want to buy my business, I exclaimed. That's incredible, Emily, Sarah said, her eyes wide. What are you going to do? I don't know. What if I'm making a mistake? I said, anxiety creeping in. What if they don't understand my vision? We've come this far. You've built something amazing from the ground up. This might be the next step to grow even more, she said, encouragement shining in her voice. You really think so? I asked, feeling torn. I know so, she said firmly. You deserve this success. Don't let fear hold you back. After days of sleepless nights and deep thoughts, I decided to meet with Mr. Carter again. I spoke with him about my dreams for the business and my concerns. He listened carefully and assured me that they valued my vision. Finally, the acquisition deal closed. I could hardly believe it when I saw the numbers. I was now a millionaire. My eyes widened and my heart raced in disbelief. Emily, you did it! Sarah shouted as we celebrated at my favorite diner. You're officially a millionaire. I still can't believe it, I said, staring at the screen on my phone. This is unreal. It's real. You've worked so hard for this, she said, clinking her glass against mine. As I looked around, I felt a wave of gratitude. I wasn't just a girl who had lost her scholarship anymore. I was Emily, the successful entrepreneur. I had changed my destiny, I took control of my life, and now I had a future brimming with possibilities, and I couldn't wait to see where it would take me next. One afternoon, I was scrolling through my phone when an article caught my eye. Local mansion in foreclosure auction. My heart dropped when I saw the picture, the mansion where I grew up. I hadn't stepped foot in it since the day my father told me to leave. Emily, Sarah called from the kitchen. What's wrong? I walked into the kitchen, my hands trembling. It's my parents' house. It's going to auction, I said, my voice shaky. The one they kicked you out of? Sarah asked, her eyes widening. Yeah, I said, trying to swallow the lump in my throat. I can't believe it's come to this. Are you going to go? She asked carefully. I don't know, I replied. Mixed emotions swirled inside me, sadness, anger, and even a hint of curiosity. I felt pulled in two directions. On one hand, it was the home that brought back painful memories, but on the other hand, it was a chance to reclaim a part of my past. Why not? Sarah encouraged. You've got the money now. You could buy it back. I sighed. But what would that even mean? I don't want to go back to how things were. Maybe it's not about going back, she said wisely. It's about moving forward. You could make it your own. Her words bounced around in my head. If I went, I could take control of my past, rewrite the story. I made up my mind. I'll go to the auction, I said firmly. The day of the auction arrived, and I felt a flutter of nerves in my stomach as I walked into the grand building. There were so many people. The old mansion loomed in the background, a ghost of my childhood. I couldn't help but feel a mix of emotions. As I sat in the crowd, the auctioneer began. We have a starting bid of $300,000, he announced, looking around the room. My heart raced. I raised my hand, surprised at the sound of my own voice shouting, 400,000. Gasps filled the room. I couldn't believe I was doing this. Do I hear 500,000? The auctioneer asked, looking at the other bidders. They didn't seem as interested anymore. I swallowed hard and raised my hand once more. 500,000! I called out, feeling a surge of adrenaline. I watched each bidder drop out one by one. Finally, I heard the auctioneer's final call. Sold to the young lady in the front. My heart pounded in my chest. I bought my childhood home, not to relive the past, but to create something new. As I walked outside, I was flooded with a sense of poetic justice. I had turned my failures into triumphs. Emily, you did it, Sarah said, rushing over to me. You own the mansion. I can't believe it, I said, feeling a mix of disbelief and joy. Now what? She asked, her eyes sparkling. I smiled, a wave of determination washing over me. Now I'll turn it into a place I love. A fresh start. Later that night, as I sat on the porch steps of what was once my parents' home, I reflected on the turn my life had taken. It felt surreal. I had gone from feeling like a failure to a millionaire and now the owner of my childhood home. Who would have thought that I'd come back to this place, not as a disappointment, but as a success? It felt like I had rewritten my story. And this was just the beginning. My life was finally in my hands, and I was ready to make it extraordinary. A few weeks after buying the mansion, I was sitting in my cozy living room, surrounded by boxes. I was still unpacking and trying to make the space feel like home. Suddenly, my phone rang. I glanced at the screen and my heart sank. It was a number I didn't recognize. "Hello," I answered cautiously. "Emily, is that you?" A shaky voice came through the line. I felt my breath catch in my throat. It was my dad. "Dad," I said, surprised. "What do you want?" I need help," he said, sounding desperate. The strong, angry voice I remembered was replaced by fear and vulnerability. It felt so strange, hearing him like this. "What kind of help?" I asked, my heart pounding in my chest. "It's the house," he continued, his voice barely above a whisper. "We're in trouble. It's falling apart, and we can't afford the repairs. I don't know what to do." My mind raced. This was the same person who had kicked me out and called me a disappointment. Why should I help him now? "I can't help you," I said. The words felt heavy on my tongue. "Please, I don't know who else to turn to," he said, his voice cracking. "It's too late for that, Dad," I replied, feeling anger mixed with sadness. "You made your choices." "I was wrong," he admitted, desperation lacing his voice. "I didn't mean those things I said. I was scared. I thought I was doing the right thing." "Scared?" I echoed, my heart aching. It was hard to hear him like this, to see him vulnerable. "You had the chance to be a father. You chose to push me away." "I know that now. I see how I failed you," he pleaded. "I just need a break. Can't you help your family?" "Sorry, I think you have the wrong number," I said abruptly, cutting him off. My heart cracked as I realized the weight of my own words. I didn't want to be cruel, but I felt like I had to protect myself. "Emily," he started, but I hung up the phone. Silence filled the room. I sank onto the couch, feeling torn apart. I thought I'd feel powerful, strong even after hanging up. Instead, I felt a huge emptiness. "Are you okay?" Sarah asked, walking into the room, sensing something was wrong. "No," I admitted, rubbing my temples. "It was my dad. He called for help." "What? What did he say?" she inquired, taking a seat next to me. "He's desperate. They're in trouble and need money for repairs," I said, my voice trembling. He sounded so different. I couldn't recognize him. "Emily, that must have been hard to hear," she said gently. "What did you do?" I told him I couldn't help. I didn't know what else to say, I said, tears pooling in my eyes. "But now I feel awful. Part of me wanted to help, but another part just felt angry." Sarah placed a comforting hand on my back. "It's okay to feel confused. You've been through so much." I thought buying the house would feel like victory. "But this just makes everything so complicated," I said, wiping away tears. "I know it's tough," she whispered, "and you don't have to decide anything right now." I nodded, but the sadness remained. This was the closure I didn't realize I'd need. I had closed that chapter of my life, yet it still haunted me. I wanted to forget, to move on. But hearing my father's voice reminded me that even the hardest hearts could change. I had to remind myself that I had the right to choose to protect my new life. I stayed in silence, reflecting on what it meant to let go and move forward. In that moment, I found a little peace in my heart, knowing I had come so far. I was strong enough to face my past, but I also deserved to create a future free from its weight. Standing in front of my childhood home, I felt a rush of emotions. The mansion loomed over me, every brick whispering stories of my past. I took a deep breath and tried to steady myself. This was where I had grown up, where I had laughed, cried, and fought. I could almost picture the girl I had been 10 years ago, lost, scared, and yearning for approval. Wow, this place is huge, Sarah exclaimed, stepping up beside me. She looked around in awe. Can you believe it's yours now? I can't, I said, shaking my head. My heart pounded as memories flooded back. I left here feeling so small. Now it's mine, but it feels different. What do you mean? She asked, tilting her head. I don't know. It's just heavy, I admitted. It reminds me of how far I've come, but also how much I wanted to escape. We've all grown so much, Sarah said softly. Look at you now. You're a millionaire and an inspiring entrepreneur. I smiled slightly, but my heart still felt heavy. But what to do with this place? I don't want it to be a reminder of the past. I want it to symbolize hope and change. As we walked around the mansion's exterior, I gazed at the cracked walls and fading paint. The porch steps creaked under our feet. This house has potential, I said suddenly, an idea sparking in my mind. What do you mean? Sarah asked curiously. I could transform this mansion into a center for young women in tech, I said, my excitement growing. A place where they can learn coding, build projects, and feel empowered. Emily, that's brilliant. Sarah clapped her hands. You could help so many girls follow in your footsteps. Exactly, I said, feeling a surge of determination. This could be a safe haven for them. I want to give young women the chance I didn't have. I want them to know they can succeed in tech and they can start right here. As I stood on the porch, I thought about how amazing it would be. We could have classes, workshops, and a community, I said, gesturing wildly, and I could invite mentors to share their stories. But you need to renovate the house first, Sarah reminded me, laughing. I know, it'll take time, but I'm ready for the challenge, I replied, feeling convinced. I want to create a space where they feel welcome. Sarah nodded excitedly. Count me in. This is such a fantastic idea. We began to walk around the property, imagining what everything could become. We could have a garden for relaxation, I said, pointing to the drawn-out backyard. Maybe even a tech lab in the main room. Let's make it colorful and fun, Sarah said, her eyes shining with enthusiasm. As we stepped inside the mansion, the tall ceilings and old wooden floors seemed to breathe life into my dreams. I used to dream about all the possibilities in this house, I said, reflecting on my younger self. Now, those dreams can finally come true. Absolutely, Sarah said, spinning around in delight. You've come full circle, Emily. You're doing this for so many girls out there who might feel lost like you once did. I smiled, warmth spreading through my chest. I've learned that we're stronger together. I want these girls to see that they can change their own stories. As we explored room by room, I pictured the future filled with laughter, learning, and friendship. The mansion no longer felt heavy. Instead, it felt like a blank canvas waiting for the vibrant colors of the lives I would help create. Standing there, surrounded by walls that had once felt confining, I finally felt free. I had come back not just to reclaim a house, but to build a haven of hope and possibility. I knew this was the start of something incredible. My journey truly had come full circle. If you've ever faced a moment that changed your life forever, I want to hear about it. What challenges have you overcome, and how did you transform your story? Share your experiences in the comments below. I can't wait to read your inspiring journeys. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories of resilience and hope.